Swiss Family Robinson, Chapter 12, A Castle in the Air. After breakfast, Jack and Ernest put the harnesses on the cow and the donkey and prepared to accompany their mother to the shore to bring home the driftwood necessary for our house. Fritz and I then ascended the ladder and found enough to do. The center of the trunk from which the curving branches sprang was in every way suitable for our purpose. The lower branches, before they bent downwards, were strong. They were thick and close together, and almost horizontal for a considerable length. I decided, therefore, to use them as the beams for our flooring. On the upper branches, a few feet above us, I determined to hang our hammocks, and over those, a little higher up, I decided to stretch a large piece of sailcloth as an awning and roof for our aerial castle. Between the sailcloth and the floor, I cleared a sufficient space by cutting away the branches that grew across it. And by the time my wife and the boys returned with their first load, we were prepared for them. By means of the pulley and rope, we were able to draw up piece by piece the wood suitable for our flooring, my wife and the boys acting as the workmen below. When this platform was completed, Fritz and I erected a handrail around it, with pieces of wood about 3 feet long, forming an enclosure so as to make it perfectly safe. Though as yet, without walls or ceiling, except those formed by the foliage of the tree, our work already appeared like a room. The whole morning was thus occupied, my wife and the boys having in the meantime brought up 3 loads of planks and beams from the beach. After a slight luncheon, we returned to our work, and slinging up the hammocks on the branches, prepared to raise the sailcloth over all as a ceiling. This was the most difficult part of our task, but by means of a pulley we were able to succeed, and managed to draw the canvas over the upper branches. By fastening its edges on 3 sides to the handrail, we were able to leave the 4th side, which looked out towards the sea, uncovered, as a means of an entrance of light. And before sunset, this wonderful resting place on the tree was completed, and had a most comfortable appearance. We had still several small planks left, which I thought would do admirably for a table and 2 benches. By nailing several planks on the highest parts of the roots of the table and on the lower curves for benches, I succeeded in making a most useful piece of furniture. While my wife prepared supper, of which we all stood in need, the boys lighted the fires for the night. The dogs were tied to the tree as a protection against invaders, and when all was ready, we commenced our ascent. My 3 eldest sons soon ran up the ladder. My wife followed with more deliberation and caution, and she also arrived safely at the top. My own ascent was the most difficult, for in addition to having Francis on my back, I had to loosen the lower part of the ladder from the roots, where it was nailed, in order to be able to draw it up after me during the night, so that it swung about very unpleasantly. We retired in our hammocks, free from care, and did not wake till the sun shone brightly in upon us at the opening of the tent. The next day was Sunday. We descended and breakfasted on warm milk, fed our animals, and then with my children and their mother seated on the turf, I placed myself on a little eminence, and after repeating the service of the day, which I knew by heart, and singing some portions of the 119th Psalm, I told them a little allegory, in which I sought to develop some of the important truths which serve as a foundation of morality and Christian religion, and I concluded by singing a hymn. After dinner, I proposed that we should give names to our place of abode, and to all parts of the island known to us, in order that, by a pleasing delusion, we might fancy ourselves in an inhabited country. My proposal was well received, and I further suggested that we should give such simple names as should point out some circumstance or special event connected with the spot, so as to fix it more readily in our memory. Beginning with the bay where we landed, I called on Fritz for a name. "The Bay of Oysters," said he. "I found them in such great abundance there." "Oh no," said Jack. "Lobster Bay is much more appropriate title, for that's where I was caught by the leg." "Then we ought to call it the Bay of Tears," said Ernest, "to commemorate those you shed on that occasion." "Should we not rather name it Safety Bay," said my wife, "in gratitude for our escape?" We were all pleased with this name and proceeded to give the name of Tent House to our first abode, Shark Island to the little island in the bay, and at Jack's desire, the spot where he had cut our arrows was named Flamingo Marsh. The promontory from which Fritz and I had vainly sought for traces of our shipmates received the name of Cape Disappointment. The stream was to be Jaguar River, and the bridge, Family Bridge. Our new abode gave us the great trouble. I suggested the name of Falcon's Nest, for, said I to the boys, you are hardy and adventurous as young falcons, and as much disposed to deeds of pillage in the immediate neighborhood of your home. Many names had been proposed, but mine at once set all the others aside. I was received with acclamation as being the most appropriate as well as the poetic one. It was thus that in the pleasant gossip we laid the foundations of the geography of our new country, and closing our Sabbath day with prayer and with glad hymn of praise, retired to rest, peaceful hearts.